All right, welcome again to the CVIP, I'm just screwing everything up. The CYVP webinar, School Safety, Health, and Wellness Spaces. I'm James Stark, TTA provider. And we have an awesome lineup today. We have Fran DeLamba from Family Services Rhode Island. They're going to provide a preview of school wellness spaces. We have Rebecca from Austin, who's going to be talking about their school wellness spaces, as well as Sonia from El Rancho schools. And we, this is again, something that came from you all, your interest in creating innovative approaches to create space and opportunity for young people to feel safe in their schools, to create school safer environments. You know, an alternative space for young people before school, during school, to be able to communicate with folks that they trust, with each other, or be in a space that they feel comfortable in. So again, very excited to have you all on. I'm going to move to our next slide. This is probably our favorite slide. This is the disclaimer slide. And again, this is—
All right, James, we can't see your screen. We're just seeing you.
The share screen was on, right? There we go. Oh, there we go. The disclaimer slide. Again, thank you for OJJDP for funding this work. Oh gosh, I am a fail today. And as I said, we're going to have some panel presentations, and at the end, we'll leave time for questions and answers. As you are listening to the panel presenters, you know, feel free to put in questions. We will definitely get to them at the end of the presentations. So first we have Fran DeLamba, and I had her bio up, but I don't have it up anymore. So because I'm having a whole bunch of technical failures. So Fran is from the Family Service of Rhode Island. She's part of our subject matter team, helping around mental health issues. Been working in Rhode Island for quite some time on this issue. Fran, I'll let you do that intro and just tell me when to move slides.
Oh, sure. So thank you everyone for joining. I'm Fran DeLamba from Rhode Island. I am a clinical social worker. I'm also the clinical director for the school-based initiatives here at Family Services. And I was hoping, if you guys have ever even heard of Rhode Island or been to Rhode Island, can you please put it in the chat so that James could tell me at the end? Because we are the smallest state in the union, our dear ocean state. So today I was asked to speak about wellness spaces and how they contribute to, you know, the development and also promoting wellness in our schools. Next slide. Some of the objectives today for you guys who are school administrators, staff, and community partners to be able to identify basic physical spaces. And give me 1 second because I need to move you guys so I can read the objectives. To identify basic physical spaces and staffing requirements for schools to be able to create these wellness rooms. Also for you to be able to learn how wellness spaces can be a tool to reduce school discipline and create these wonderful learning environments, not just for students, but also for staff. And last objective, so that you guys will be more effective in considering ways schools and community partners can collaborate to support wellness spaces. Next slide, James. As you guys know, it goes without saying, the pandemic changed everything nationwide. And one of the things that we also was an increase in mental health issues, especially in adolescents, children and adolescents, which led to limited access to these services. I think, everyone can attest to that. And nationwide, I believe it was in 2021 when the largest three health organizations declared a mental health state of emergency for children. And those organizations include the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and the Children's Hospital Association. And, you know, working in Rhode Island, at the time I was working for Lifespan, which is one of our biggest employers in Rhode Island, and it includes two of our major hospitals, Rhode Island Hospital and Hasbro Children's Hospital. And we saw the amount of inpatient pretty much doubled, but we couldn't manage the need. We didn't have enough beds. A lot of kids were boarding. So the pandemic changed a lot for not only, you know, students, but families across the country. Next slide. So what are wellness spaces? Let me see, let me just move this again. Let me put you guys at the top. That way I don't have to keep moving this little square. So how can these spaces be effective in order to provide students and staff the opportunities to focus on self-care and self-regulation and coping skills? You know, we want to reduce anxiety. We want to reduce stress for our students. So these spaces would allow for something like that. I think being able to spend, you know, 10 minutes a day, either at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of your day, would lead to the goal of reducing some school discipline issues, behavioral issues, help students self-regulate, and create a safer learning environment for all. And it will also provide an opportunity for students and personnel to reset, restart, and refocus. I was telling James, you know, I drive my son to school in the morning, and in the morning they go into the cafeteria. And I was asking him, you know, I'm like, buddy, is the cafeteria, are you guys supposed to be quiet? Like, what's that like? And he said, actually, it's very loud. And I was thinking, wow, if his school had a place, and not for every child, but there are those children that might be able to do better in school if they had a place to go in that's calm and then transition to class. And especially he's in middle school. We all know that's such a pivotal point for students, right? You know, when it comes to their development, their social skills, their interpersonal relationships. So again, we want to help, we want these spaces to be able to create a place of calm. Next slide. So here's some ideas of what a wellness space could look like, and it doesn't have to be anything extravagant. I think if you know, students and teachers and staff can help create this together, I think it'll be a nice buy-in for the student if they have a little bit of autonomy in creating the space that they're going to use. So again, just something that can be zenful for both staff and students, I think would work wonders. And it doesn't have to be overly stimulating. I think calm is the key word here. Next slide. So how do we benefit from these spaces? You know, these spaces create a safe place. They help facilitate a therapeutic alliance. They help increase the ability to self-nurture, increase resilience, self-esteem and body image, increase ability to engage, and also the ability to engage in social activities especially, and increase in the ability to cope with triggers. Next slide. So in coming up with this presentation, I have a colleague who you'll see here. Her name is Lady Frias, and she is a restorative justice practitioner here in Rhode Island and a certified mediator. Most recently, she worked at Brown University Center for Students of Color, and also restorative practice specialist at the RISE Center in Richmond, California. So when we were talking, she gave me some examples of some of the things that we can include in these spaces, which include weighted blankets, tactile pillows. As you saw in the pictures, you saw some lounge seating, paper, crayons, things for kids to do, with their hands. Mood lighting, we want something soft, not something very bright. Fidgets, I love fidgets. And we want that space to be neat and organized. Some people use music in these spaces. You can create your own, maybe with the student, create your own, she called a meditation playlist, but it could be even a hip hop playlist, as long as they feel that music is soothing. And some of these spaces also include some sensory room toys. I remember, my previous experiences working in a therapeutic day school, and a lot of our students would have the seat cushions on the chairs that had the little, well, I don't know what they call it, but we use them a lot for kids with ADHD to help kind of get them grounded in their seats. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? It's a little round seat cushion. You know what I'm talking about? It reminds me of those Nike slides. Next slide. Some considerations that she had suggested were, and I thought this is really important, if we can avoid using the wellness space, avoid associating it with negative behaviors, she said that would be one of the best things. And consider scheduling time in the wellness space during non-crisis times, and also teaching students to self-regulate, that can be practiced at any time, not only in times of crisis, and avoiding using the wellness space as a reward. And she also said, let's think outside the box. Why don't we give students certain numbers of passes that they can use the space, throughout the week, throughout the month. The idea is so that they understand when to self-identify, so that they understand when they need to self-regulate and learn how to advocate for themselves in order to use that time. And again, you can be creative with the passes. They can indicate a specific time. So, I'll leave that creativity up to you guys. And the spaces, they can be staffed. A lot of us are trained in trauma-informed care. Different schools have different types of training around behaviors. So they can be staffed by a teacher, a behavior specialist, guidance counselor, teacher assistants, anyone that you feel is appropriate. Thank you. Didn't even have to ask. Some of the things, this is, I think, if you have additional funding. I was telling a coworker of mine today that in my old office, I got moved because at the school that I worked at, they wanted to put this huge swing, and it took up the whole entire space. So they needed my office for that swing. And I remember one time walking in to see a student, and the swing played music, and the staff and the student were both like napping because they were so soothed and calm. So that's one of the things. Some people have, these are just suggestions, the swing bolsters, which are for, they're popular for vestibular stimulation. Some people use the P-pod for that deep pressure, body socks, body rollers. That's an inexpensive thing you can get, is the body roller. The ProTac Sensit chair it uses weighted balls that sends impulses to your central nervous system, I believe, to help soothe the muscles and in your mind. And again, projection and light effects. You can use those baby lights that they sell in the stores to help create the calm in that room. Next slide. So in thinking of best practices, guys, I think, best practices definitely aligns with the core competencies of social learning, especially when it comes to self-management. As you know, that was what we learned from Castle, is that self-management is the ability to manage one's emotions, thoughts, and behaviors effectively in situations. And this is what we want from our students, right? We want them to be able to manage stress and have these rooms have the furniture and the tools that they can use to help them self-regulate. I think according to Castle, when they did their evidence-based research, they found that 90% of teachers thought that by improving, giving students the opportunity to self-regulate, they thought that it improved outcomes. Next slide.
I think that was it.
I think that was it, guys.
Thank
So
you.
in closing, thank you guys for listening, and I appreciate being here with you.
Thank you so much, Fran. And just as a heads up for our CYVP sites, Fran is part of our team of subject matter experts. So if you're interested in connecting with her after this webinar or want further conversations around wellness spaces, around supporting your students with mental or behavioral challenges, please reach out to us and we will definitely connect you with her. So we're very excited. Thank you very much, Fran.
Thank you.
We're very excited to have two of our sites share their experiences in creating, staffing, and utilizing safe spaces. Austin Independent School District and Rebecca and her team. This has been something that's not new to them. This is something that they had been they had put in place prior to the grant program, but they were able to build upon the work that they did. So I kind of wanted to be able to share their experience, kind of how they built in the culture of this space in their schools, how they continue to utilize it, how it evolves over time, and then towards the when at the end of this, we're going to then transition to El Rancho. They're very new; they're brand new at creating this space. So we'll share a little bit of information about the students that were behind that work. And where they are at. So Rebecca is the grant specialist for the OJJDP grant. They are focused at 3 secondary schools in Austin: Crockett, Early, College High School, Covington Fine Arts Academy, and the Alternative Learning Center. Prior to taking this role in 2020, she was a pre-K special education teacher in San Antonio for 9 years and a teacher assistant in the middle school special educational classroom in Northside Independent School District for 2 years. She's also a national trainer for the American Federation of Teachers, the National Teachers Union in DC, and has been on national panels and boards for social, emotional learning and equitable practices in education. Rebecca, tell us, help us, share with us the learnings.
Hey, y'all. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yay. Thank you so much, James. And thank you for having me here. And also thank you to the first presentation. That was amazing, Fran. I was taking notes and putting all kinds of stuff down for us to look into this summer. So yeah, as James said, I'm Rebecca Ozun. I'm the grant specialist here for our OJJDP grant. And one of the things that we really did build upon with this grant were the wellness spaces and safe spaces in schools. And Miss Brayna Bradford is here on my picture. She's our restorative practices associate, and she is strictly at Crockett Early College High School. And she wants to be with me, and she is also checking in with a student right now because it is our lunch time. And we've had a bit of a weird week because we are doing state testing this week. So yeah, just a quick intro to us, and yeah, James, you can go ahead and check. All right, so this is something that our district adopted probably in 2012, 2014, when we really started our deep social-emotional learning work. So the coordinated school health approach is really just looking at the whole child. It's part of our district whole approach for wellness in our schools. Crockett has started to include this as part of their campus improvement plan. So annually they have this in their campus improvement plan, and then they talk about really how to put this policy into practice. And if you see those things on the bottom, so I'm just going to touch on a few of the ones that we have going on here. Oh, and if you notice, it says to improve the, go back, improve the physical, mental, and emotional health of all students, staff, and members of the educational community. So if you think of the members of an educational community, you know that's a really big task to take on. So really, how do they do it? They looked at times of the day and their planning times where they could start incorporating these and changing the campus culture and approach to what the whole child is. And so on here, it's transitioning from a focus on narrowly defined academic achievement to one that promotes long-term development and success of all children. So for our advisory lessons are created by our SEL campus team. They're also created by students and our support staff. They also do advisory lesson surveys throughout the entire school year to kind of see which ones are the most successful, and they ask kids what they need. So is there something you're struggling with? Is there something that you need support in, or like what's going well? What's an exciting, thing coming up? And sometimes we see things like long school breaks that are coming up that maybe some kids are nervous about. Sometimes it's things like prom that we had a few weeks ago, and just the excitement around that, and then the excitement of graduation, and what it's like to maybe get your first job or get your first driver's license or your first car. And so they just talk to the kids about, what are they really going through and what do they want to check in about. I put their faculty meetings. Our principal starts all of our staff meetings with some type of check-in or affirmations, or turn to a partner and just listen for 1 minute. There's always something in our faculty meetings for staff to do. And then all of those newsletters and websites have links to the campus improvement plan, and then have a link for ways to support the whole child at school. And then I put family nights and PTSA. Our PTSA has been so well, really connecting with us. Personally, for our room that we have, they've purchased yoga mats and fidget toys and snacks for us. They host monthly family nights, and actually next Tuesday, we're going to be a part of it, and we're going to do some restorative circles with parents about how the school year has been, what they're looking forward to for summer, different things for them. And then the lesson planning and PLCs. So all of our departments and teachers participate in the PLC, professional learning community. So when they're doing lesson plans, it isn't just about academics and rigor and, beginning, middle, end. It's really things about check-ins and timing, and maybe we do a restorative circle once a week, or different ways that we give the students leadership jobs in our classroom, and really highlighting what the kids do best. All right, so when we did our return to school after everything from 2020, we looked at these definitions from Edutopia. We had one who was an elementary counselor, Kirsten Sullivan, and then Crockett really took on the definition from CASEL. So safe spaces are environments where students feel freedom to make mistakes without lasting judgment or ridicule. They're places where children can go to calm down, be alone, and recharge. And then Crockett said, let's go with CASEL, any space on campus where students feel confident that they will not be exposed to discrimination, criticism, harassment, or any other emotional or physical harm. And so we really looked at these definitions and said, where are those spaces on campus, and where are those things already happening? We also looked at CASEL's definition for brave spaces, which is about having equitable conversations and conversations about race and the LGBTQ community, and other things for students who consider themselves to really be on the margins of identity markers. So we just really looked at the entire campus and said, look, all of our kids are coming back. They have not been here for a year, 2 years, some of them 2.5, 3 years. So like, what is it going to take to really intentionally build a campus around safe spaces? And what do our classrooms and our spaces on campus need to be able to do that? So go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So here's our brilliant principal, Corey Crawford Maynor. She's been the principal at Crockett since 2017, and one of our longest serving principals in our district, because we have quite the turnover for principals in our district. So when we were looking at the restorative practice associate for, we used to have Miss Estock and now we have Miss Reyna. When we were actually looking at the space on campus where we would be, this is what she had to say. We purposely placed our RPA by a space near other student support services that connected with students and their families to provide a variety of services for them. Often students needing one of these services benefit from being knowledgeable of the other programs nearby. This also allows for staff members to connect with each other about shared students and families. So our room 163 is connected to room 162, which houses our licensed mental health professional, one of our parent support specialists, and the Gramercy. They are an outside therapy company, and they contract with the district, and their main hub is here at Crockett for the South schools. So we are all connected. When we have students come in that need support, it's very easy to just go next door and say like, hey, I want to introduce you to this kid, or hey, parent support specialist, mom actually had a question about this. And it's really just an intentional way that we have the layout of the schools. And then if you go to the next slide, I actually took our school map. We're, of course, the high school have over 2,000 students this year enrolled. Goes anywhere from like 1,600 to 2,000 throughout the years. But here's our actual map, and the highlighted spaces are offices and classrooms that are considered safe spaces. So if you see, every floor, every level kind of has a safe space on it, or there's one nearby. So our classroom, and the one we're connected to again, the Gramercy, the licensed mental health professional, parent specialist, and the restorative practice associate. Upstairs in the 270s, we have Year Up, Miss Hallett, and one of our assistant principals. Another, the big 170s on the bottom, is our communities and schools office. We have the Council for At-Risk Youth, Carrie, here, and so one of our academic directors and Carrie are housed in another space. The special education offices are across the courtyard from us. In the front office, we have our counselors, our nurse, our principal, and one of our APs. Our entire library, which is, our librarians are amazing and welcoming and inviting for all students. The lower courtyard is connected to our garden and gardening club, which is headed by some of our science teachers, and those are considered safe spaces. And then our principal also put the assistant principals throughout the school campus. So they aren't all at the front office with her. She has them kind of intentionally placed around, and that's really for safety reasons. If they get called in the walkie for something, they can run down, depending on where it's at on campus or where they are located. So their offices aren't like you're going to the office at the front of the school. It's really like, come check in with me, and I'm here and I'm around campus. And that was something that was intentional. And then next slide. Okay, there's me and Miss Reyna at a South by Southwest education event, but I took a couple pictures of our classroom. You see our layout in our room. It's set up for a restorative circle. And then our centerpiece, we have some fidgets and some stones, and sometimes kids make us art and we'll put things in there that are special to them, and then talking pieces that are special to them. And then this wall here is kind of our art wall. And so we have all kinds of stuff for kids to draw and color and just make whatever they want. We also have some of our affirmation cards that we like to pick up. And sometimes we'll just read those with students. And some of those cards also have yoga poses, or some breathing activities or exercises that they can do. And so We also have snacks and tea and hot cocoa. We have the restorative circles. So we have different offerings like that. But what I wanted to share mostly is that we really teach our kids how to utilize and access us in this space, because it's not so much that it's available on campus, but we talk to them about like you can come anytime if you just want to grab snacks or a hot tea or a hot cocoa, and just like run in and grab that. But if you're going to have a conversation with us, we'd love to have like actually make some time for you throughout the day, right? And so they can go to their counselor's office or come to us and they can ask for a pass, and we can build some time into the day to actually pull them and talk with them in the room. And then they also know that they can come anytime during lunch. And so during, like, sometimes they come in here and eat with us, or they just want to come and like hang out and do some art. But they know that those are kind of the times where they can always come and join us. But then if there's actually a conversation they want to have or some time, then they need to get a pass. There have been a few times where there's like emergency situations where they'll come and just ask, like, can I please just talk to you for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes? And we're pretty accommodating for that. There have been some times where we'll say, you know, go check in with your counselor first, and then we'll go and get you. But yeah, just really it's not just about having the space on the campus and all those highlighted areas having that space, but we also teach kids like when is the best time to actually utilize us. Okay, and so I got some student quotes. I wish I had our kids here, but they're doing testing, which I was not even thinking about when I agreed to the time. And so we just kind of posed the question to all of our students, what's it like for you to know that you have these safe spaces on campus? And one of them, Phoenix, a 10th grader using they, them pronouns, said, it's really helpful for me. It's hard to be in class some days, so if class is overwhelming, I always know I can come here and talk with Miss Brena for a little bit. And then Delilah, a 9th grader, who uses she, her pronouns, said it feels relieving. That was the word she said that really just was like, oh, that's wonderful. She said, I only had 2 teachers. I was close to middle school, and here I have a lot of teachers I can talk to, and I love having Miss Brena here for when I don't want to go anywhere else. Okay, and then for all the ways that we look at improving safety in the school community, I'm sure y'all do all of these and then some, but the one I wanted to highlight and talk about are just some of the tracking things that we've looked at and some of the data points that we've used that are a little different that I've learned. We actually, Ms. Brena keeps a whole list of students to come in and check in with her, even if it is to just grab a snack every day. So one of the things we look at is touch points with students, with trusted adults on campus. How often are they happening? How many happen? Who are they connected to? What other supports need to be included? And have we talked with families? So a lot of times if y'all have heard about like, oh, do a positive call home. We'll, after like the end of the week, we'll come and just kind of look at who's come to check in with us and who's talked with us. And we'll call a couple of parents or family members and just say like, hey, I got to see them this week. They're so great. You know, they were talking about da 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 da. Or, you know, they're really excited about da 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 da. And I just wanted to let you know that I saw them this week and they seem to be doing really well. And I'm, you know, thankful that they, you know, came to check in with us. Like how are things going at home? How are you doing, Mom? How are you doing, family member? And that's always really great for families to hear, because y'all know that can really make a big difference with our connection to families and that educational community that we're all a part of. And then I wanted to put in here, so I also work at the Alternative Learning Center, which is our campus, of course, for students that are removed from their home setting. I'm going to put something in the chat. This is something that we started looking at. So this is the Texas Chapter 37 law, which talks about returning students from an alternative setting. And we've really started to look at some of the data about connecting with our students that are returning from ALC. The law is massive. So all of those statutes are different variations and things for it, but there's actually required things for when students return. And one of them is that they are connected to resources or a counselor or a school district, some type of licensed clinical social worker, campus behavior coordinator. And so we've really used Ms. Brena as one of those people for when they come back to campus. So what happens is they would withdraw from Crockett, go over to the Alternative Learning Center, and then when they're done there, they withdraw from there and come back and re-enroll with us. So when they re-enroll, we've been really intentional about having them come and check in with us. And if anything, she'll go and pull students and say like, hey, you just came back, like what's going on? And so we're trying to look at some like recidivism rates for students. And again, those touch points with somebody on the campus that could be trusted. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. That was really great to hear. And just the work that you guys have been doing over the past several years and very thoughtful. I know when we were there, we were super impressed by the team, and the students seemed to be very thankful for that. And so great work. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
All right, so now we are going to hear from our team in El Rancho. I'm gonna turn it over to Sonia. Sonia has been a mental health liaison with El Rancho Unified School District's Student Support Services Division since 2019. She's a licensed clinical social worker and joined the Student Services team in 2014 as a mental health counselor. She has worked at all developmental levels at El Rancho and has served on the Student Services Development Leadership Team to assist with crisis response, mental health, service coordination, grant programs, data reporting, program development, as well as helping to oversee the district's mental health internship program. And we're going to give her special bonus points because she has brought on a couple of students who have been amazing as far as building up this work at El Rancho, and they're going to be sharing their experiences as well. So thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to join us and teach us adults the knowledge that you all have. So I'm going to pass it over to Sonia and go for it.
Thank you, James. Yes, I was waiting to see what the bonus points were for. So really, I'm going to transfer those over to our student leaders here because they have been very patient and are very busy. And so nice to see their faces. And so you all will hear from them in a bit. Hello, everyone. I'm Sonia Guevara, mental health liaison here at El Rancho. We are in Pico Rivera. If you don't know where Pico Rivera is, we are like a suburb off of Los Angeles. We're small but mighty. So I'm proud to be here on behalf of our team. So we have Dora Delgado, who is our Director for Student Support Services. She's also on the call. And Jeff Middleton, my counterpart, my partner all the way here in our district, the other mental health liaison, and really helpful in all things that we are working on here at El Rancho. So we'll go ahead and move into the presentation if you want to move forward here. So mental health services at El Rancho Unified. So in speaking about Safe Spaces Wellness Center and what it looks like for us here at El Rancho, we wanted to start by sharing a bit more about how mental health services look like in El Rancho. So we have our wellness center staffed by and supervised by our mental health counselor at El Rancho High School. And so we're sort of backtracking to what does it look like in terms of mental health support. We see our wellness center as an extension of our existing mental health services on campus. And so we just have a little snapshot here of currently, and I think we're a little bit more now. This was maybe a few weeks ago, right? So we have over 1,000 students that we have already served in our district. We are a little under 8,000 in our district total students, about 2,000 students at El Rancho High School. And so this is all levels, but you'll see currently for this school year, we are right on track with prior years. And so we have served, and this is we, by we I say, myself, our team, that I will share more about who those providers are in a bit. So about 300 of the students are, so about a quarter of our total students are all at El Rancho High School. And so this is sort of giving everyone an idea of the need. And El Rancho High School is our largest high school school site. And so we have a large concentration of students that are at El Rancho High School. So for the last, I would say 8 years, El Rancho Unified and the providers for mental health, we've been able to serve an average of about 1,300 students each school year. And so Rebecca was mentioning, right, the points of contact. So this includes ongoing mental health, crisis response, short-term services, but also includes students who are participating in workshops, short-term interventions, and have various points of contact with a mental health counselor, mental health intern, a liaison like myself or Jeff in our district. And so that's what that number is in our average for the last about 10 years. And so wellness centers, right, as I mentioned, are an extension of our mental health supports on campus. So 10 years ago, our district was in a position where we had one mental health counselor and one liaison. I was that one mental health counselor, I want to say, for a bit. And so you can imagine with 13, 14 schools, what a few providers are able to do, it's much more crisis focused. So there's a lot of putting out fires, crisis response, and really, since then, I'm proud to report back, we have grown immensely in our team. And so we currently have 13 full-time mental health counselors, both marriage and family therapists and clinical social workers on our team. Myself and Jeff are now liaisons at the district office level, and we have consistently around 23 mental health intern providers. And so our mental health interns provide support about 2 days throughout the week, some of them more. And so that rounds it about 40 mental health providers for all of our school sites in the school year. And so we are very fortunate to have a program that has grown so much. And this has also allowed us to do much more prevention. And so we see our wellness centers and our safe spaces on campus, like our wellness center at El Rancho, to be an opportunity for students to seek and receive mental health support or support from a mental health provider that is not just restrictive to crisis or even long-term therapy from that provider. So I'll speak more to our wellness center at El Rancho High School. Our original wellness center was opened during the 2019-2020 school year. If you all can remember that school year, there was a significant change in March of 2020. And so, but in fall of 2019, this wellness center started out of an existing space where we were providing group therapy and really originated organically from students requesting to be in that space, right? So we noticed students were there during lunchtime. And so we wanted to create some structure around that. And so our existing team members at the time developed the safe space on that El Rancho campus and brought in our community resources. At that time, we had a medical provider, AltaMed, and Inside LA. So we had health education being offered out of our smaller space. That space was named the Rest Stop. And so interesting, I was looking at our information from before. So the Rest Stop name was developed through a Twitter poll that was, don't ask me about Twitter polls, but it was a Twitter poll. And students selected the name the Rest Stop during that school year. We had artwork displayed on the walls, and students also began the process during this school year of establishing themselves as a campus club. And so we'll talk more about what that looks like and how that changes in terms of sustainability for the wellness center. Oh, thought we had a question. So we can go on to the next slide, please. Okay, so as you all know, right, the pandemic quarantine hit in about March of 2020. The Rest Stop's original opening date was in February of 2020 when we had a ribbon cutting and we were excited to have a lot more structured activities offered in this space, a small space, but still, I would say comfortably fit about 10 to 15 students. And so at this time, when that halted physical operations for mental health and really just education, we continued our mental health services virtually for the remainder of 1920 and into the following school year. But so we saw a way, so we established a way to monitor the well-being of students and to help students feel connected. So that's something that we saw in that 2020 school year is how are we maintaining students' feeling of connection, right? And I think the idea of safety really shifted just for the whole world, right? So the sense of feeling safe, what did that mean? Really changed for everyone. And so in the 2021-22 school year, which was all virtual learning, we modified an existing mental health screener we had previously administered in person to one of our high schools, a smaller population high school, our continuation high school site. We modified that and administered it virtually to all of our El Rancho high school students at that time. And what we saw was that students were not feeling connected, right? There was a lot of isolation. And obviously during that time, students had a lot of worries, anxieties. So when we returned to in-person learning, that was the next school year, last school year, 2021, 22. What we saw, and I believe Fran spoke to this as well as Rebecca, is an increase in severity of symptoms that students were experiencing. So what this might look like is prior to the pandemic, we had students reporting anxiety, internal symptoms of anxiety, but still sort of able maybe to function throughout the school day, just definitely sharing their own internal response to stress and depression. Symptoms were present, right? But post-pandemic and returning, that shifted to students were having, for example, an uptake and increase in actual like physical panic attacks, right? So we were seeing that students were hyperventilating, having a really difficult time. And so that sparked an identification of safe spaces on our campus. And so our team worked to develop various interventions. And so this was last school year in our return to in-person learning. And so some of the safe spaces included, and Rebecca mentioned librarians. Our librarian at Rancho High School is amazing as well, very supportive of students. And so where were students going? We were finding ourselves identifying existing spaces for our students that they could go to in this more elevated crisis type of situation that they might need to de-escalate, a place to go, a safe place to go. So those included our library. We also coordinated and collaborated with our nurse, our health office, and our staff that were managing the health office on our campus. We provided what we called like calm down kits. And so those were different manipulatives, a lot of the items that were discussed in the first presentation that students could independently use. So there was like directions of how to use this. We also, because a lot of virtual resources had been created, we included that. So we had some like a virtual calming space. And in that calming space, for example, you could see what the tiger was doing at the San Diego Zoo. They have like a camera on the tiger. I've seen it. And so there was these sorts of resources we were bringing together to give students opportunities and places to feel safer on their campus and have a space to go and de-escalate. Our guidance office was also a place that we chose, or that we were creating plans for students to go to, but we needed more, right? And so every year, Jeff and I are going around to all of our school sites, and we were looking at spaces and securing spaces for our confidential mental health supports. And so when we were doing this, we realized that there was a large space on the El Rancho campus that was a shared space with our special education program, but that had two smaller private offices. One looked more like a closet, but since then it's a very nice office. But we said, hey, we can offer confidential services out of these two offices. And there was a large open space, blank slate in the middle. And so I believe when James came over and visited our site, he saw it in its early state, we'll say. And so this space, through a collaboration with our special education department and our existing partners that we had, so those partners included LA Kata, Boys and Girls Club. So Boys and Girls Club was already on our El Rancho campus. And so they were in the process of moving to a larger space that was just out of the campus, but was able to host students from the community and to really host a larger number of students. They were in a bungalow, now they're in a much larger space. And so we received a lot of furniture from our partners. And this was when we sort of initiated in the fall. So in September, we held focus groups of students. And these were, we had over 60 students on this day during lunchtime come in and respond to questions like, what does a safe space look like to you on this campus? How do you envision a wellness center at El Rancho, right? Because the idea was to bring back to life, right, what was originally the rest stop or a wellness center that we had. So some of the student responses, right, a happy place where you weren't when you weren't feeling well, a place for a one-on-one talk, or just a place to talk with some of the things that students said. And so we took that, and we also, in that process, were able to gather students who were interested in being part of our leadership committee, because we let students know, look, we're really trying to create a safe space in this room, and we want students to be a part of it from the beginning. And so that was sort of the start of that. So in our wellness center, right, we reopened it since then, and Jeff will talk to that and we'll show pictures next slide, but all students are welcome in our wellness center. A safe space for us at El Rancho looks like a space that could be used, and I, like the previous presenter shared, right, during times where we're needing more maybe intensive support, but is open to students on a regular basis. Our wellness center is operating before school and during lunch. And so typically the students that maybe are alone on campus, didn't have a place to go, might be more likely, right, to be a target of some sort of violence or just not feel as safe on campus. And so this was part of our efforts to make sure we created a safer space. So we can move to the next slide, James. Hey, Jeff, go ahead. Oh, you're muted.
Hi, Jeff Middleton. So a few pictures of our space. You know, a lot of what Fran was talking about earlier was really wonderful to hear Fran show those pieces, because that it really highlighted, and you know where we were coming from as well. So it was nice to hear what she had to say, bringing in the this calm energy, this calm space where folks can slow down, kind of regulate their nervous systems. We made a flyer a while back, and it said that the Oasis Center is a place to chill, unwind, and refresh. Was the phrase that was used on the flyer. I thought that was really great. So you can kind of see some of the photos. Some of the pieces in the room really came out of partnerships with other community organizations. So Los Angeles Center for Alcohol and Drug Abuse was a huge help. They had a grant in which they were able to support our student wellness leadership team and the space, so they were able to contribute and help us out. We pulled from lots of different places. People, came in to help put it together, and our students played a huge role in letting us know what they wanted and what they wanted it to look like, and how to arrange everything in the room. And we're really fortunate to have them here. I'm gonna have them speak in a few minutes, but before they speak, James, there's a video that we can show from one of our board members. And so one of the things that's been huge for us in El Rancho is our support from our board, the Board of Education, overseeing the district, have been a huge supporter of mental health services and proponent. And so we have a short video from one of our board members talking a bit about the Oasis Wellness Center during our grand opening on January 19th, 2023.
You're muted, James, but I think this means 1 second. Dora was our interviewer on this day, I'd like to add.
I can hear it right now, but for some reason I can't pull it up and see it. So I'm not sure what's happening here.
I'm wondering.
So can we do the student video?
Let's try the student video.
Yeah, we try our associated student body, ASB. They also created a video for our wellness center that hopefully we can show as well.
All right, give me a second to get that one too. Now again, I can hear that one. I just can't see
So
it.
we hear it.
All right, you just have to hear it. Sorry.
We have lots of things like video games, snacks, board games, books, and
Sorry.
When you clicked on the little play sign down below, the board member's picture showed up. So I don't know.
Did it?
Yeah.
It must be the settings. I don't know if James has like the mirror view, because I think you've been having issues since before, right? That it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's just showing
Probably
like
showing
your
a
desktop.
tab.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. So hang on a second.
It's probably showing a tab, yeah.
Yep, hang on. That's a see,
Sorry.
no matter how many times I do this.
Out
I'm
of the
still-
two, I mean, I'm really proud of the student video. So if we want to just skip to our associate student body, they did a wonderful job, and our mascot is a part. They're showing our mascot enjoying our wellness center.
board members here.
Oh,
your thoughts on how the development of the
Nope.
It's okay. I mean, we can continue on.
No worries, James. Thank you. Maybe at
Yeah.
a future
1 second.
meeting. we'll
We're getting
share.
it. All right,
Ooh,
let's
yay.
restart it. I'm sorry about that. There we go. Good?
We just can't hear it. So this is our board member, our lead pres, explaining a little bit more about our process of developing our wellness center and the need that was there for our wellness centers.
James, can you adjust volume from your end? We can't hear.
Everyone can see our balloon arch from our ribbon cutting.
Yeah, sorry, the audio is not coming through, James, so you may want to
Yeah.
pause for now.
I don't know if it'll be the same thing for the next video as well. So
That work? Did you all hear it?
we couldn't hear the video. We could see it, but we could not hear it.
Oh, my goodness. All right. And then I can hear this one. I have no idea where it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
Oh, let's try that one. That one, even if we just see it, but that one is nice. And it's quick. It's really
Can you
fast.
see
So
it?
This was an Instagram post. But
Maybe
you're not screen sharing right now.
All right, this should work. Can you see it?
yes.
Yes.
All right.
Hey guys, talking about there, just feeling a little stressed out. Stop by to the nice break in our new Oasis Wellness Center. We have lots of things like video games, snacks, board games, books, etc. We even have yoga days on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 8:30 a.m. Come by and take the opportunity to make a new friend. And don't forget to grab a pass screening system to be able to enter during lunchtime.
All right.
Yeah. Get the idea there. So that last piece of it is talking about our pass system. So it was actually so popular, the center, that we were having way too many students coming in to the point where it was kind of it was impacting the comm that Fran was talking about. So then we implemented a pass system where students can come in during the break and get a pass to be able to attend, to keep it around 30 to 40 students, which is where we found is a nice sort of balance where so that it can keep that calm place, but we can also still offer space for those students who need it the most. So I'm gonna open this up to our student leaders who have been so patient. Appreciate you, Amy and Anthony, for being here. So I want to open up the space to you if you want to share how the Oasis Center has impacted your experience at El Rancho High School. So maybe Amy, if you want to go first, then we'll have Anthony go after.
Hi, my name's Amy. I'm the student president here, and the Wellness Center we're called the Oasis, and I'm here with some student president, vice president Anthony, and it's like I'm just really nervous, but yeah, it's a really nice space we have opened here. We've been working on it for a really long time. I've been working on it since we've been working on it since last semester, and really we didn't expect for it to blow up this quickly, and I think it's a really good space just for us in general, like us as a team and other students that come in, because as a team we're able to coordinate with the students that come in here more, and I just think that's really beneficial for if a student feels comfortable and wants to have their own input added, we could always we're always open to listening what they have to say and what kind of recommendations they would want for the center. We also have a lot of activities coming up for this month and next month. We have a lot of what's it called? yeah, we have a lot of
Maybe our workshops, Amy?
workshops. Some things that we're going to be doing in the month of May are a resource fair. We do art. Some activities here are art therapy. We practice mindfulness activities, and we do workshops every Wednesday here in the Oasis. And we're going to implement a system this Friday, and every Friday as a self-care fun Friday in the Oasis. So, you know, we're always coming up with new ideas and things we could do here, especially as a team. I just think it's really good.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
Great. And Anthony, anything you would like to add?
Well, hi, I'm Anthony. I'm the vice president here at the Oasis Center. Everything she said, I mean, it was pretty much covered, but as we go each day by day, we still grow as a room, and I'm hoping that it would stay here for as long as possible. Because I mean, I'm already going to graduate this year, and my position is going to be moved on to somebody else, and I'm just hoping that it's going to stay here.
Great. And can either of you be open to sharing what it's been like for you to be on the Student Wellness Committee?
Wow. It's been a trip. Honestly, we have a lot of fun ideas, and these ideas as a team, we make it as a team. We make it collectively, and we each go by vote. I mean, yeah.
I also think that, you know, it's what he said. We do everything together, and it's like, I think working together as a team is like really nice because important. Yeah. Yeah, it's just we're able to get like it's not like a hierarchy rule where we choose everything. We have other members in our team who also like get to have their own input, what we could do here in the center. And I just think like it's really nice just to like, you know, lead something, because it's not really like, I've never really had like a leadership position. So it's really nice to get experience now. And it's just like, I want to like, you know, when I go to college, I want to like, I could use this opportunity like I have now and go on to other things I could do, great things there too. And you know, and what we do now, I just want it to like improve and make it stay good when we leave.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you both. So applause for you guys. So appreciate all that you two are doing. I love that you're bringing in that there are other students involved, and that you're really kind of accessing more student support, and both of your leadership has been huge in making all of this possible and helping to design and set up the program and inform us on how we can best support students. So I want to thank you both for that. I do want to acknowledge right to your left, there's Berlin Valdez there.
Yeah.
Berlin is our mental health counselors. Her mental health office is right there in the Oasis Center. So Berlin, I don't know if you want to say a couple words about your experience with Center and anything you want to add.
Yeah, I mean, this is my first year with El Rancho, so it's been a wild ride, kind of trying to get this going with our student wellness team, but it's been such a blast, and I really like that my office is connected to it, because it's nice to have a kiddo come in here and be like, hey, this is like a safe space for you guys to come, not only to check in and to have services, but to utilize during lunch. We have like yoga on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the morning if you need to decompress before you start your day. But yeah, it's been really great. It's been fun working with these two, especially. But
Yeah.
Thank you, Berlin, and all that you've done as well. Played a huge part in making this success. I don't know if Amy and Anthony, can you read? Are you seeing the chat, the messages that are coming in from folks?
Oh yeah, I was reading them as they were going by. It was really nice.
Most amazing kid. Thank you very much. You can tell both students are so invested in the center. Also picking up. I clicked off of it. Loved hearing about the Wellness Center through your eyes and experiences. Awesome job, students.
Yeah.
So, Yeah,
I
so-
know that some of our leadership team or our students have also experienced our original wellness space. And so that was really something that students were really excited to bring back. And so I really see the excitement in that students see the growth, all right? So from their freshman year coming in and now as seniors and being part of that leadership team is so amazing. So thank you both so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
And I
sharing.
love you're bringing in that the you know the student wellness committee leadership group will continue next year, and you know even expanding things more and more. I also wanted to share a little bit about we did have a partnership with New Horizons, which is an organization. It's funded through one of our county supervisors, Hilda Solis's office, and they bring snacks every week for the students, which has made really, so when the students come in, they're able to kind of get some snacks and just kind of have some nourishment. It really adds such a nourishing feel to the place. So it's emotionally nourishing and physical nourishment. So we're really appreciative of our partners and those available to come in and help us out. So I'm going to send it back to Sonia to share a little bit more about partners.
Yes, Jeff, thank you. Sorry, and I know we're probably running out of time. I apologize, but thank you so much. I want to make sure our students have time to speak. Right, so our students are talking about when they leave, right? They want to sustain or continue to have the safe space on campus. And so what we're ending with here is just kind of the efforts and really the importance of that campus club designation for the sustainability of a space like our Oasis Wellness Center. So the student wellness team that Amy and Anthony are a part of is a club on the El Rancho High School campus. What that does, it allows for the opportunities to fundraise, and it does have requirements. So currently we have 13 registered members for students. They do a vote for the different positions of leadership, also provides the students with that experience that Amy and Anthony mentioned around giving the students an opportunity to experience leadership and go off and continue that. And so some of the plans for the Wellness Center, what we'd like to include, and the students spoke to this as well, right? So in the month of May, mental health awareness, our district is really looking to increase that by a lot compared to what we've done in past years. And so we will debut the workshops every Wednesday. We're going to have a small resource fair on May 31. But also we want to work on existing and maintaining the partnerships with our community partners. So important, right? I can't say how much our partners have done for us, but also like, for example, Boys and Girls Club, that is an after school program. And so similarly, we have staff come in, talk to the students in our wellness space, and then they go and can find the Boys and Girls Club. We plug their program as well, share out to students so that they can go after school to have a similar safe space. So we're sort of collaborating with other organizations who are developing the same types of spaces that we are hoping our wellness center continues to be. Mental health related field trips. I wanted to mention that was a great idea that I hadn't thought of, but students have expressed an interest in going out into the community, taking field trips as part of this leadership team. So in our focus groups originally in September, some of the things that students mentioned that they would like more information about: job skills, life skills, culinary, nutrition, and health. Some of the things that were requested and that we've already provided: meditation, yoga, drawing arts activities, quiet spaces, access to mental health. And so we're really going to continue to look back, gather information from students of what that space will look like. So what we can make sure is that it will be a student-led space and that students will continue to really have a key role in developing the space, developing the schedule, developing what's offered out of there. We are looking at also offering continued workshops. And so we have some of the examples there from Rainbow Services. So that's a domestic violence prevention organization. And we are working on having them come out soon to do workshops or even, like psychoeducational groups. So we're looking at really using the space in a dynamic way. And I'll stop there because I know we're over time. But so on our last slide, it just has, James, you can move forward. Anyone who'd like to contact or reach out to me or any members of our team, more than happy to speak with other districts or partners that are looking to develop similar spaces. And I will take from our other presenters so much that we'll be also working on our end. So thank you all.
James, do we have
Yes,
time to answer the questions in the chat, or should we?
Yes, we're definitely gonna get to those, Jeff. Yep. First, just wanted to say thank you so much, Amy and Anthony. I don't know if you guys were both there when I happened to be there, but I was super impressed. Yes, I was super impressed.
Yeah.
with,
We did
you know, the
remember you when he
thoughtful-
came in.
Yeah, I was just, I was really impressed with, how thoughtful you guys are around, what is in the space and who is in the space. I think that's just as important. And you guys, you both were very vocal about, these are particular teachers or staff that we'd be interested in participating. And, these are other ones that, we might have to think twice about. So I think that was super important. And, thank you so much for sharing your experiences. I know we have several questions in here. I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. Fran asked about workshops for students. Wondering if you're able to bring in folks from the community who are leaders, especially leaders of color. So this grant program is definitely designed to create that kind of collaboration between schools and community-based organizations. And I don't either Sonia, Jeff, or Rebecca, do you guys want to take that on?
Yeah, so I can speak to just a few that are upcoming. And so one thing that I was really proud of recently is that we have reached out to our existing partners. And so in our community, we have existing mental health agencies that are through Medi-Cal and that we make referrals for to their school-based programs. And so we have confirmed that 2 out of our 4 workshops in May will actually be provided by the clinicians that are from this partner agency, one of our partner agencies. And so I was really glad for that, because that really allows for students to have a way in or to have a familiar person that also could potentially be someone they would be connected to later on. I don't know, Jeff, if you want to add anything else to that part.
No, I mean, I think our community is predominantly students of color. Most of our providers are people of color. So when we're connecting, we're bringing folks in. That's usually, it very much reflects the community in which we're working with. So we've been really fortunate in that regard. And so I don't know if Berlin wants to add anything about that, or the students. I'd like to hear from them too.
We're so sorry. I was writing them passes so they can get back to class. We missed it.
Yes, yes,
Back to academics. We get you.
yes, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, so
Speaking of passes,
Yes.
we have a question about how do you regulate the passes? Who gives them out? How long are kids allowed to stay in the space?
Yes, so you might have noticed in our Instagram post that the mascot did have a pass to come into the wellness center. They held it up like this, that's why I did that. And so the pass system we've implemented just since when we opened in January. It was open to any student that wanted to come into the space. Our wellness center is like operating during unstructured time. So it's nutrition and it's lunch when it's open to students. And so after January, we've had the formal ribbon cutting, and we saw a spike we had close to like 80 students that were in our space. And like Jeff mentioned, it lost a little bit of the chill vibe, the students like to say. And so after that, a way to resolve, we hand out, so it's Berlin and our other mental health counselor that are giving away, it's kind of like a ticket, right? So it's a daily pass that is offered at nutrition that students then return with it to come in during lunch to utilize the space. So it's really just to monitor the number of people so that it's not overwhelming and doesn't become more loud and less calming for students. But it is a large enough space that accommodates maybe 30 to 40 comfortably. Outside, I would say outside of that daily pass, we do offer as needed to some students, very few, I would say less than like 10 students maybe in the school, a separate, like a personal pass, where because the wellness center might be also utilized for a student that is in need of like a de-escalation during class time. But otherwise, our primary operating times are during open times, so lunch and nutrition, and before school.
Is that similar in Austin or is it a little bit different, Rebecca?
Kind of similar, a little different. So Brandon works closely with our counselors on campus. And so if they have students they usually have students that are waiting and kind of overflow. So some of that, like they might send a Teams message and say, hey, can I send the kid over real quick and just, check in with them. And you can say, yeah, sure, like, or they'll go over there and grab them. When we have situations where we are going to have restorative conversations or restorative circles, we build that time into the schedule in the week. And so she'll write passes out, and she can either go to the classroom and pull the students, or we can take them down to the counselor's office and they have like student aides that can go and run and grab kids. So it just kind of depends on the situation. But again, like talking about how to access our space, kids know that before and after school, during lunch, and usually during advisory, they can come whenever they want to just check in. And then if there's a note on the door, they can send a message or come back later. And then if they just want to grab a snack, then they can just come in and grab a snack and then leave. But if it is going to be a longer conversation, then we try to build that. And we have to set the schedule. It's, there's times that we can take them out of certain classes that we can't take them out of. And then we'll just kind of have passes for the week, or we'll tell kids if we see them in the hallway, like, hey, don't forget, we're going to send a pass during third period. And they'll be like, all right.
I'm gonna ask my own question here. I'm gonna definitely open up to the group as well. But one of the things I noticed in both of your wellness spaces was that there was an office that was off the space where students could meet one-on-one with staff. Can you guys talk a little bit about what that space is, how that's utilized, and how that is connected to the wellness space, or is it connected to the wellness space? And I'll start with Rebecca.
Will you say that part again?
So
Places
you
off
all have like a separate like little offices that are off the space. So students, like, if they want some one-on-one support, they can go privately and engage a teacher, an adult that they want to have a conversation with.
Yeah. So our room is a pretty open area, but then we do have 2 private rooms. I'm actually in one right now for today, where we can have more personal and private conversations with students. And then the room we're connected to, Gramercy and the licensed mental health professional, they have offices. So they are meeting with students one-on-one most of the time. And then in the different offices that we have in here, there's like pillows set up, and it's like the mood lighting, and we have like lavender. Usually we have diffusers around here. And again, like if kids want to do artwork or journal or just write things down, or literally scribble for like 10 minutes while they are just getting things out, or if they're crying and whatever, and it's like, hey, we're here to listen, like do what you got to do.
And Sonia and Jeff, you want to talk a little bit about, or Amy and Anthony, you want to talk a little bit about that space that's off your wellness room?
Yeah, and so I mean, we have Berlin here on the call, who's that's her office spaces there. So I don't know if Berlin, you want to speak to that component?
Yeah, definitely. So we typically have 2, maybe 3 people kind of overseeing it or supervising at once. So if a student kind of comes in with their pass, or maybe just outside of the lunch space, they're more than welcome to step into my office that's attached to the one across the way from me, and we'll hold like a little mini session or just check in. We also, like right outside my door, have like a bulletin board that has our QR code for like a mental health referral. If they don't feel like kind of, I guess, coming in here, because kiddos know it's like a mental health counselor office during the lunch period, we'll just say like, oh, like you can just fill out the QR code and we can summons you outside afterwards. Website. Yeah, we have on the school website as well, but we do have the QR code right outside the door as well.
Yeah, we feel like it's really important to have somebody. So I mean, not just for supervision and that connection, but just kind of ownership of the space, and just kind of having somebody there at all times. So if students come in and they're asking for help, and Berlin can step out and talk to them, and then we do have students, especially with amount of anxiety that's really increased over the last few years, that need just kind of a space to come in, and also having somebody there that can supervise and oversee that at all times is really, really beneficial. So really fortunate, and Berlin's done a wonderful job helping to oversee the program. Our other office on the other side was a closet, actually really was a closet. We cleaned it up and made it into something better than that. Now it's nice, nice little office space. So then where we can have community partners and interns in there who also help to supervise and oversee the program. So I think that's been really huge.
No, we only have a few minutes. Are there other questions from the field? If you do have some, please raise your hand or just feel free to jump in. I know Sharon in the beginning, she had asked if the spaces were for students and staff or just students.
Yeah, I mean, our yoga, so we're trying to develop our early morning yoga. We are offering that for staff and students, and we're working to try to expand a little bit more and offering more for our staff to be able to use the space. So we do have some that come in. So you want to add something?
So because our wellness center is open to students primarily during the, outside of like crisis, we have had some staff groups use our space for like other sorts of meetings. And we have had reports back about wanting to return. And so just being in the space really changes the feeling.
You should charge them for that, Amy and Anthony. So you can use our space, but then you gotta volunteer, or you gotta like give us some good treats.
I like that.
Anybody else have questions? Oh, sorry, Rucka, you were saying?
I was just going to say it's for us too. And we work a lot with student to student situations. We also work a lot with teacher to teacher situations or family to staff member situations, and have conversations about them too. So even like the space I was talking about where sometimes students come in and expressing different emotions, the same thing happens with the adults on our campus.
Anyone else have questions? We have a couple more minutes before we're gonna wrap this up. Or anybody want to share about if they have their own wellness space in their school or in their community-based organization?
I just wanted to say, I think the work you guys are doing is amazing. And, it sounds like if you could put both your programs together, you'd be like this this superpower. But keep up the good work. It sounds really great.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I have a lot of notes from Rebecca's district as well. Specifically, I really like the idea of family. So bringing in I think there was something where you mentioned around family night, or just having also maybe eventually, including our wellness space and, like open house events and things of that nature, to really also give parents that experience, families that experience as well.
Good, very good. As a final reminder, this webinar is going to be recorded. The PowerPoint slides will also be shared on the CYVP website. There's a link earlier in the chat. I can copy it and paste it again. So no, that's not going to work. That isn't working. Nothing's working today. I'm sorry. So the webinar recording and the PowerPoint deck should be on the website probably in a week or so. If you guys have any questions or want follow-up with either Fran, the El Rancho team, or the Austin team, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Post a question on Basecamp if you want. And as far as preview of upcoming attractions, in another, probably in June, early June, we're going to have another webinar about the Promotores program, and it's a program to connect schools and communities with Latino mothers, aunties. So it's a way to engage family members and have them get connected more with the schools, and hopefully encourage greater engagement between community organizations, parents, family members, and schools. So again, Amy and Anthony, thank you so much. Sonia, Rebecca, Jeff, appreciate all of your support. Fran, awesome job. And
Thank you.
everybody else, have a great rest of your Thursday afternoon. We'll catch y'all later.
You too. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
Bye,
day.
Amy and Anthony. Thank you.